And I think we should be live. Just gonna wait for YouTube to catch up, so I'm sure that everything's alright. But I think it is. Come on. There we go. Alright. So, this week I haven't had the chance to play much War Thunder the past week. So I haven't gotten any of the new ships yet. But something I want to do, which might be interesting, is for the case of French Coastal, which I haven't played at all, is to play it solely on live streams. So I won't be streaming nothing but French Coastal for the next few streams, it's not like that. But like once or twice a month, just to French Coastal. And see how far I can get and how quickly it goes. And basically make a video archive of going through a French coastal tree. But yeah, without further ado, I think I'll just get right into it. And just see how long the queue times will take. The one slight problem I'll have is the fact that I still have to do my naval star for today. But oh well. Okay, quick queue. Ireland Bay is a pretty fun coastal map. I know. I have played them a bit on the dev server, and I am very well aware that their machine guns are atrocious. Torpedoes are quite slow as well, so nothing to be used. Let's go to B and try and get a capture point. I see there's nobody at the helm, even though the wheel's turning. I guess he's just inside. Yep, there we go. Nobody I know on the enemy team. And let's see just how far we can get in this stack tree in one stream. The worst 1.0 lineup in the entire game, by far. It has some interesting boats though, but quite a few of them are over BR'd. Is pretty much the French coastal tree is an interesting one. But it's a very difficult start, with all the 1.0s being generally terrible. That's arty. I need to get out of dodge quick, because I will die to artillery. Also, this is a reserve, right? Yep, I do get 3 spawns in it. I should have. And it took my gun out immediately. It's 11 seconds to repair 2 machine guns. No, it isn't. Good stuff. Come on, there we go. Somehow got that kill. So a thing you want to do with a lot of these early coastals, especially stuff where you have terrible firepower, is you want to go bow in, especially when the enemy cannot hit the rear of your ship. It'll make you survive just slightly longer. It's very possible that losing the gun on this crew doesn't do anything. Also, yeah, I just saw him get torpedoed by an AI. And of course it was a Japanese AI. They also buffed the reload of these 7.7s compared to on dev. So it's not that atrocious as it used to be. And it's actually quite manageable now. Yep, there I go, got shot from the back. But that was to be expected. Might actually go to the A point now. Yeah, no, if you want to play just coastal, don't go above 2.3. Alright. I'm kind of curious what's on B. I don't think it's the Hagor. Actually, he's no longer capping B. Must have been an AI. I will say it is very much an acquired taste. Because of how long I've played Naval, I've gotten used to how rough coastal can be. And I do have quite a few coastal boats that I like, even at 230, 33. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture this point from behind island cover and not push in front of this Hagor until I've captured the point. Is he actually advancing, or is he staying behind? The Hagor does seem to be advancing. And if that's truly the case, I can just repeat him. But you know what? Why don't I? I'm playing for fun anyways. I might as well have some fun. There we go. From playing the little I have on the dev server, I want to experiment with the API belts. Because I've noticed this as well recently when I played PT6, is that the tracer belts or the API belts seem to do quite a lot more damage. Although it could be just placebo effect. So I think I am researching the API belts first out anyways on this thing. I'll see what this does. He's gonna go behind those rocks, isn't he? No, he isn't. He launched torpedoes, but I don't think they arm before... Okay. So this is an assist. And I did miss, but that's fine. And it is actually a player. There we go. I'm having some great luck with these 7.7s actually. They're definitely on the lower end of damage output, but they're workable, at least with 1.0s. There we go, got APIT, let's get RT. And some extra speed. Sure thing, Deutschland, just give me a second. Don't need smoke screen, so let's just get more mobility. And invite... Is it the wrong spelling? It is the wrong spelling. No, it isn't. Do I not have you in my friends list? And that's the wrong button. I should be able to find you in here, I think. There you go. And let's not forget to actually equip the API belts. Actually, was it almost enough for the first camo already? Huh. And we shall go in again. I'm getting the VTB 14 first, because I think it has the worst torpedoes. It's got the same torpedoes as VTB-8, whilst VTB-11 actually has decent torpedoes, I believe. Also looks the coolest. I think API is better than stockpiles. I'm not entirely sure. But I've got a sneaking suspicion they are. And now we just wait. Oop. Being squatted up might make the queue a little bit longer though. And if it's too long, I will have to go solo again. So the default is just APT, APT, but the APIs is just IT, 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 and so on. I'm not entirely sure if it's better or not, but on the dev server it felt better. And can sometimes make the difference. If it reaches 3 minutes, I will disband the squad Deutschland, just to get the queues a little bit faster, hopefully. I'm not sure if that incendiary stuff applies to boats. I'm not sure if incendiary belts actually set stuff on fire quicker. Yeah, I will. The second I click cancel, we get into another match. The second. It's Ireland Bay again, so we just do the exact same thing. We are equipped with the API belts. The good old cancel queue indeed. Also, I probably should actually try and bring a plane with me, because I do have French aircraft. With the addition of the Benelux sub 3, I have grinded the French aircraft 3 a bit. That was the Hago that was earlier in the enemy team. Quite a big match. And that was the guy that won dev quit last match. Other 2-man squad. Yeah, but that's not going to be a 1-0 though, is it? Oh, actually. Yeah, that might be. And I do think I own it. I don't want to up tier myself. Not for these things, at the very least. Sadly, I don't have that French float plane with a torpedo. At least I don't... Oh boy, a nasty. That's going to be a difficult target. Oop. I'm going to do lots of damage to myself. Actually, I didn't. That was the wrong button. He's there. Let's RT there in front. We can cap before he enters, I think. He's throwing RT on us. Lots and lots of RT. My RT is hitting. It's splashing, kind of. I think it's a player, isn't it? It is. I can't actually think that thing's gun. Well, damage the gun. If it's just gonna sit there, I am going to torpedo it, however. Just keep destroying my gun. Just keep going, just keep going. He's reversing now. And it knocked me out before I could... and my torpedo's way behind me still. It didn't seem like it. It should. It didn't. And I did actually torpedo the T-14. He brings great shame to the Japanese tree. Yeah, the Nasty is a really, well, as the name implies, really nasty coastal vessel. Like, even if you discount the 40mm being in the rear, it's still two 50 cals. No, is it two 20s and a 50 cal? Which is a really good armament for the BR it is. I think it's a one... What BR is it again? Actually forgot what BR it is. Slow down. It's 1.7. Yeah, 1.7. That's crazy armament for a 1.7. It's a G5. You don't really want to mess with G5s. By the way, that British boat has 4 times the armament, and I did RT the PTF-7. Lovely. Force a reload because I don't hit 2. What is that thing doing here? Luckily I still have torpedoes, and he ran himself aground. He's gonna die. There is still an enemy on B though. The 2 torpedoes were definitely overkill, but that's fine. We're playing this to have fun anyways. That's an AI, okay. Not doing a lot of damage at range, but that's to be expected. RT strike behind me, but we're in luck. Keep reversing. Oh boy. I'd love to reload my torpedoes a bit quicker, but that's not gonna happen. God. P10 is there, not doing a strike. Squad mate going ham, and I should back him up, because why the hell not? Kill stolen. I'm almost done reloading my torpedoes, but I don't think I'll be able to use them properly. The reload buff to the 7.7s has been a great help though. It's now just a somewhat long reload instead of really, really bad reload. What am I locked onto? Where is it? There it is. That's scary. Torpedoes have reloaded. I am going to launch them. I'm reloading the gun. And there goes the early 200s tension. I think my RT strike might still hit it. Where is it behind it? Actually, it did happen to my RT. Nah, nothing happened. Again, one dev quit. Very weird. Oh, come on, the loaded 200 is practically dead. RT strike on the Type 4. I think the enemy's hiding right there, so let's just RT that. Hope nobody sails into it. Have a quick peek around this corner. But I think we do have somewhat of the upper hand. Question is if we can keep it. Oh, it's right there. Oh boy, there's some big bombs. That's a big arty strike, but we're fine. Kill assist, we'll live with that. Maybe repair my propulsion because I don't have anything anymore. There we go. Go, another kill. And we just sit here. Wait for the tickets to bleed. There we go. Weirdly enough, I am really liking these boats, but then again, Ireland Bay is also a really good map for these kind of boats. And that's both camos unlocked and a French medal. Ooh. There we go. For new people to Naval, I will always recommend, for blue water, I recommend the American Naval tree. Hold on, something's weird here. I definitely should have spaded this boat. Oh well. Coastal is a bit more difficult when it comes to recommending it to new players. Because there's no real coastal tree that's incredibly, like, simple. There's none that are really good for new players. Because the thing is, if you're playing coastal for coastal's sake, so fighting other coastal vessels, you only need to look at 2.0 and below. And pretty much anything has a good 2.0 and below lineup. But if you want to look at top tier when it comes to coastal trees, like their frigates or other top tier vessels, then it's a whole different story. I wouldn't say that the... arguably the SKR is one of the best frigates, but in my opinion it's a bit overrated. And you can get it by just as a squadron vehicle, so you don't need to grind through the entire tech tree for the quote-unquote best coastals. Although the Russian top tier actual coastal tree is pretty good as top tier as well, the PR206 and stuff. As Deutschland is bringing up, I would recommend the Japanese coastal tree, as their frigates are quite potent. But there's like, in every coastal tree there are boats that are fun. And in every coastal tree there's boats that you just will hate to play. What I will say, is what you want to look out for coastal vessels, especially at lower BRs, is a coastal vessel with a 40mm Bofors or equivalent gun. Because they're the gold standard when it comes to medium range guns for coastals. So I think that's the 40mm Bofors. I think, is it the flak, one of the 37 flak guns for the Germans, which I think you can find on the one of the R boats. I think it's a Flak Lafayette. I'm not sure. And then the Russians have a 37 as well. I'm not sure, and I can't really check because I'm in the queue. But yeah. But those kind of guns are really, really good guns, and most platforms with those guns are decent enough. And they're like a good standard for coastal vessels. So if the TAC 3 has one of those at a good battle rating, then you can always enjoy those vessels. Black Sea Port. The boats version. I think I'll actually go to A. Also, that's long-range fighting. We don't want to do long-range fighting, we want to do close-range fighting. So we're going to see. I'm not going to take out the VTB-8 unless, of course, it gets sunk in the VTB-14, because I think it should be spaded already. It just isn't allowing me to research the modifications. Pretty full match again. Squad might have having connection issues, maybe? Yep. Okay, that's not where I was looking. And now we just keep an eye out. Another enemy French coastal. Right there. Our boat was just 220 mils. I say just 220 mils. Ooh, is that the one of the... That's the one of the 20. There he goes, opening up the 20. You just go face tank it. Bridge is out though, also should be a bit of a problem. He's gonna try and torpedo me. Bridge is out, so my turning is really slow. Go. God, it takes a while to repair my bridge, but that's, I guess, what happens when you don't have parts. That's an AI. Something's trying to shoot me with like a single gun. I think it's... Ooh, it's Sokote. Trying his best. That's the Sokote still, which might become a threat. Look at my gun. I have been losing my gun quite a lot in these ships. But oh well. My torpedo is probably not going to hit anything. I'll use a backup, why not? And I'll spawn over to B side. Too many heavy hitters over near C. Yeah, and that one did crash. Sure thing. Yeah, the lack of any long-range weaponry on these 1.0s is a bit disappointing, but then again they are 1.0s. Not much I should be expecting from them. That is indeed the guy capturing the A point. Yeah. But I think it'll not take me that long to get through the French coastal tree. That's kind of why I want to do it just while streaming. I think tonight I'll definitely get to do rank 3 one is even. Yeah, like there is only one French coastal vessel above 100,000 RP and it's the last one. So getting through the tree should be fairly quick going. Should go fairly quickly. Probably not going to get into B on time to get a cap. But oh well. Might still catch some. Nope. It just won't. P400 turning over here. It isn't. And that's the 37 I was thinking of for the Germans. Really, really good gun. I think we'll just go hunt the G5 then, I guess. If I don't get shot up by whatever that is. It would be incredibly funny if I just launched a torpedo at that guy and turned away. Which I think is exactly what I'm going to do. However, what's the speed? I really wish there was some kind of torpedo timer so I could tell how long it takes for a torpedo to hit my target. Both, because inaccuracy. Fire on the bridge will be dealt with soon. And those torpedoes will be on their merry way. I know, they are a bit of a pain, but once you get used to them. I really wonder that G5 is going to sit in place. Because that would be incredibly funny. Yeah, the defender. Been a while. I know, but I can't do that math in my head, to be honest. I'm too lazy to pull up a calculator every single time. And knowing the time in hours is a bit redundant, a bit useless. Oh yeah, if you get the 13.2 one, that can hurt. A heavy machine gun is better than a light one. There's my torpedoes. Please smack that G5, please. But surely not. There he is. I wish I had depth charges. I think that's something that some people noticed as well, is that none of the French boats have depth charges. Except for the one British boat. Or two. Please sail out of the gap. Or just lose to twin 7.7s. I haven't actually checked, because I didn't actually look at Yara on the dev server. But if the live server experience is anything like the dev server experience, I think the Frenchies should be fine. The 7.7s are rough, but luckily I am experienced enough to deal with them. Ooh, they didn't have the depth charges on the French destroyers either. Oh, hello. Yes, please fly in a straight line at me. That will be very good work for you. It would have been incredibly funny if that killed me. Did crash into the rear of my ship. Yeah, it's not gunfight, so it's just... All I need is just like a little timer somewhere in my crosshair saying, oh, if you have your torpedo selected, this is the time it takes to that target. You don't. No, you don't. Why would you ever use a solid shot on the 25 pounds when HE does the best against other coastal vessels? Okay, that is a VTB-8 that sunk me. Yeah, but still, there's no reason to use APC if you can just use the HE. Though, I will admit, I haven't actually tried the APC. So I shouldn't mock it before I try it, I guess. But I am unconvinced that it would be better than the HE. That is indeed the plan, but with them decapping A, it's gonna be much of use. I mean, you could, but to a certain extent, I don't really want to get into too big of a squad when doing these low-tier coastals, because it'll just extend queue times. Although you could join and see what happens. There we go, now I've got the spaded bonuses for the VTB-8, I think. There we go. Let's get FPE, let's get the API belts again. And I really want to get artillery. There we go. And more mobility. Now I've got the coolest of the 1.0s. And soon I'll get the 1.3s. Well, Fanner, if you want to join, I just need your in-game name again, because I am absolutely awful at remembering names. Or you shoot me a message in game and I'll invite you that way. Also, before I forget... Why I'm on the modification screen. It's customization I want. I'm not actually sure if I have the most 1.0s. I'd need to check. That's one. Okay. Let's see that then. . Yeah, La Surprise and this one, MTB 96. Because it's also a British boat. It's just a Vosper. Yeah, so France is 4 1-0s. 2, 3, 3, 4, if you count the premium as well. Also 4 for Japan. 3 for Italy, and France, as before, is 4. So it's tied with the most 1.0s. Yeah, it's less... What is it? Is it La Surprise? It is, but it should be Surprise, right? I'm not actually sure on the French spelling of that word. It does. Also, I know how to pronounce the ship class, but I just can't. I just cannot say it. But anyways, just waiting for Fan to ready up. Not entirely sure on what France's anti-submarine warfare capabilities were like. Also, I do want to check my French planes. That's a 1-3, and the reserves aren't good enough really to do anything. Do have a Belgian Gladiator, which you could be put in just for the fun of it. So yeah, 14 still needs a lot of work, and 11 is just brand new. Fan is still deciding his lineup, that's fine. I'd prefer if you didn't. I really do not want to up-tier these 1.0s. I'd prefer if you just took a 1.0. And we'll be sticking with 1.0 for a bit until I've spaded these two. And actually, now that I look at it, I should upgrade their qualifications. Because that's something you should always do for your naval cruise if you have the SL spare. And off we go. And immediately found a match. Okay. And it's on one of my favorite maps. Although probably not the best map for French coastals, especially of this caliber. Because VTB 14 is already further along in the spading process, I'll take VTB 11 first. Even lower muzzle velocity, oh boy. I guess. I've kind of learned to just block out all the alert sounds, which might or might not be good. Also, I can actually go underneath this. I can, okay. I think... I'm not sure. I'm not sure if France has a project ship. It does have a higher fire chance? Oh, okay. To be perfectly honest, at this BR it doesn't really matter what belt you take. But if you really want to min-max it, maybe. So have I. I've also found API to be slightly better. But I'm not sure if that's just placebo of me thinking, ooh, API must be better. But I don't mind either way. And speaking of Vosper... Oh, that's a new Japanese thing I still have to get as well. But that thing has a Bofors on the back of it. pretty scary. And it's already dead, never mind. Oop. Thank you for subscribing. But I really need to find a way to make those names appear a bit bigger. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Torpedo away, come on. And just keep sailing. That torpedo is gonna hit the nasty right in the deck. Please. Yes, perfect. Oh boy, this thing has a large turning circle. This is very awkward. But that Italian boat has 220, so I need to kill it first. And then the compatriot is next. And teammate to the rescue. Perfect stuff. I do think this boat looks the coolest of the 1.0s. I really like the look of the bridge. I'm really happy I managed to torpedo that nasty behind us. It is an AI, so it's not the biggest threat, but still need to be careful. Ah, yeah, it's with you, Rubix. Thank you for the subscription. But yeah, I do like this map. You rarely see it, but it's an incredibly interesting map. Although it can ruin your frame rate if your PC is not powerful. And mine is starting to age a bit. Where is this guy I'm locked onto? Over there, okay. I don't like hearing machine gun bullets off the rear of my ship. I'm not entirely sure if I would call the French coastal tree good. Especially the 1.0s are rough. Luckily with my experience it's alright to deal with. And they are 1.0, so you fly through them pretty quickly. The other boat, there are some very interesting boats in the tech tree though. There we go. We'll get FB, we'll get API, let's get propeller, and work on artillery next. So, I think actually like this, until 2.0, the 1.3, the 1.7, the 2.0 are pretty good ships. They all have a 20 mil. All solid little boats. They don't get up tier to destroyers, so they're fine. Although in a up tier probably gonna be rough against 3.0s. Ara is a really, really interesting ship. Let me actually preview it. Because look at it, it's just goofy. It's 3.0. It has a blue water damage model and a coastal spawn. And those guns are really big guns. And firing HE at any other coastal will just one-shot it. So this is going to be a very interesting boat. It's also not that particularly slow for the kind of ship it is. And then you have Line of 059 is also a pretty interesting boat. Bit worse, 2.7 is a bit high for a much slower boat. But they have interesting boats. Like the VLTs probably shouldn't be 3.7. Surprise is a British river class, which interesting that the French get it as a tactical version and the British have it as a van ship. Combatant, probably going to be atrocious, just bad. It's 4.0 of 2 normal Bofors guns and funny missiles, but they're kind of bad missiles. They're slow, have limited range, and they do have a decent chance at one-shotting most other coastals, but that is if they're a small coastal vessel. Sure thing. So it's a pretty small tree, and if you look, you see that it's actually pretty cheap as well to research everything. So it's okay. It's not the greatest coastal tree out there. It doesn't have like really peak ships. Probably the they're not cruiser guns, they're destroyer guns on the Arda. And I think that's how you pronounce it. I think the S is silent. But I'm not too good with French. But they're the 138.6s, 55s, model 1910s. Which I believe, also I did see that. There we go. 1910s. They're not the same guns as the destroyers. But they're the same caliber. Just earlier guns by the looks of it. Also, I do need to get Mogador at some point. But whenever I'm going to get that, I don't know. It isn't silent, so it's Arras. Okay, good to know. I know a little bit of French, but I'm really not a good French speaker. Which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. I'll just wait for fan to ready up again. Really? That thing? I'm looking at the blue water tree. Seems a bit small to be converted to an aircraft carrier. Unless you mean like a seaplane tender or a very, 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 very small aircraft carrier. Nah. Yeah, the thing is, I'm, as the flag heavily implies, I'm Belgian. And half of our country speaks French, but sadly I didn't pay too much attention to French classes. Other than the tidbits here and there. I need to look into the Arras class more. Arras class, sorry. It's so weird to see a French word with an actual pronounced S at the end of it. At least it is to me. Hello there, Daryl. Good to see you around as well. I probably wouldn't enjoy that much. You really don't have to. I've got my own ways of getting G anyways. Well, I say that. The blue water tree, not much. It is a bit of a disappointing tree. I have joked. Also, don't worry about being slow with readying up. I have joked that the French blue water tree peaks at 4.7 because their cruisers are just not great. The early cruisers are alright for early cruisers, as most 5.0 cruisers are. Colbert and Bertin. Emile Bertin is quite interesting. It's quite unique being very fast and having decent guns. But it's squishy. Colbert not having proper AP and pretty bad sap also leaves much to be desired. And then the only battleships they have are dreadnoughts, the early type. So they're just not great. I think the French tree would be well worth it as soon as we got one of those like really famous French quad turret battleships, quad gun turret battleships. It's a crying shame that the French tree didn't get introduced with Dunkirk. Which, yeah. If there are French speakers in here, I'm really apologize in advance for all my pronunciations. Because Dunkirk is actually British pronunciation. Dunkerque? Is that French? And it's also it's a Dutch name that's Frenchified, so it's really weird. But oh well. I mean, the thing is, we don't even have to wait for Richelieu, because they have one of those quad-turret battleships with 330mm guns. You know, the Dunkirk. And that would have been a really fun battleships to have, and a really unique one, but for some reason, they don't. So, their track record of getting more unique ships added recently. That too. I've been a bit delayed with my work on getting an update video out, although I should be getting one out next week, although I don't want to promise it. But I have some gripes with the Amagi being introduced, or well, the form in which Amagi got introduced. I think that'll be a topic for another time. And I've got... Oop, why is my camera not where I was looking? Okay, I'm still at 100% crew, but... That is the... UDB-14, yes it is. So the thing is, it is broadside onto me. I go nose in. Or his nose is in I can. Maybe disable his gun, because you can do that on these French boats surprisingly easily. They do repair quickly, of course. There's another enemy shooting me, and I do not appreciate it. Come on, reload. And actually hit when I'm trying to shoot, please. Oh, come on. I didn't want to look onto the guy behind him. Thank you very much, game. And the torpedo that I didn't see. Could have guessed it though. And I didn't equip API belts. There we go. I didn't think, did I equip it on this one? No, I didn't. There we go. Yeah, but it's just, that's kind of my gripe with the French tree, is that it didn't really add unique ships to them. Like, they only have one heavy cruiser. They could have had more. They have only, well, they do have multiple light cruisers, but like one, you know, bigger light cruiser. Yeah, Guichet was an interesting one, if that's how you pronounce it. But with the addition of the Benelux sub-tree to air, we could get some Dutch cruisers in the French tree, which could be quite interesting. Like, there's a lot of interesting French ships they could add, but you just don't. Yeah, the Ruiter is one of them. The Zeven Provinciën. Stuff like that. Lots and lots of, well, a few Dutch cruisers. You could add them in the World War II fleet. I think they even went and served post-war, I'm not entirely sure. Need to read up a bit more on the Dutch cruisers. Yeah, there's just... Sadly, the Belgium doesn't really have much naval assets to offer to France. So that's not really much. Yeah, bunch of Dutch ships you could add. It could be cool. But yeah, if you're looking to get into the French Blue Water tree, I would not recommend it unless you're already pretty experienced. It's also... So what I want to, or like, to think of when thinking of what tree to get into is their future potential. So Britain, Japan and America clearly have the most potential when it comes to World War II ships. Russia has a fair amount of potential when it comes to post-war ships as well. But then France kind of falls off, same with Italy. They do still have interesting ships, don't get me wrong. But they're not the biggest tech trees. Or at least I wouldn't imagine they'd be the biggest tech trees. And even if you think about possibilities of carriers and submarines, then America, Britain, Japan will be the biggest. I mean, Russia has a few paper ships that might be added, but not that many either. They have like one more battleship. That's about it. So I just noticed somebody else from my squadron in here. Playing the Sokote, the madman. The Sokote actually got a minor buff. So, why not really? Decapture on sea, so I might be able to recap it. Yeah, the naval treaties do kind of do that. You'll notice that with a lot of navies. Alrighty, Dutchland, I'll keep clear of sea. Is with the naval treaties, a lot of naval development just kind of stopped. Especially when it comes to capital ships, obviously. Because I think there was actually like a forced stoppage or break on building new capital ships during the treaties. Come on, come on. There we go. And sneak away into sea. Very, very little damage. But I will. There's a nasty around somewhere, around the B point. And that's not going to be fun to deal with. Assists are fine. Yeah, but luckily it is just the 1.0s that are this badly armed. All the other boats have decent armament. There goes the gun. I think it is a player. And there goes my gun again. And there goes my bridge. I'll say goodbye to steering. Yeah. You know, it is not a fun coastal tree to start with, especially if you do not know what you're doing. Luckily, I like to think I know what I'm doing, so it's not that painful. That I don't really take this too seriously, as my squad mate gets torpedoed by an AI. Really? But you know, France has a lot of interesting ships. Okay, very late aircraft engine to here. Is he going to turn back around? I made fun of my squadmate getting torpedoed by an AI, but then I get torpedoed myself. Okay. Those AIs are demons with torpedoes, apparently.
Another zone captured, we have the advantage.
Should have this match in the bag, though. That happens. Yeah, the AI boats, so like the actual AIs, are really accurate with anti-air guns, or using their guns as anti-air guns. Let's look at the hilarious scope on those guns. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, I've only played like 3 matches, got all the 1.0s, just spading them now. But the grind's being okay. Again, they're 1.0s, they don't really take long to upgrade. Matchmaking isn't too bad yet. And getting the bonus RP from best squad doesn't hurt either. I'll probably just unlock the VTB 13 from spading bonuses though. We want to go faster. And I need to get phone silent. We get new pumps, and there we go, that is VTB 13 unlocked. I can't actually exit the screen before getting the other stuff. Okay, engine. And then dry docking up next. And coastal vessel by VTB 13 and crew it. Actually, no, not crew it yet, because it is an up tier and we do not want to do that just yet. VTB 19 next, and we'll just keep going. But yeah, squad mate is needing to go do something else. So I'll just give it a moment. Yeah, I haven't had the most luck with VTB 11 yet. Actually, how's the camos going along? Because this one has the all camos unlocked, right? The tricolor camo is pretty neat. Unicolor is just pink. Actually, I like the tricolor. That's pretty neat for a torpedo boat. And the other camos... not even close. Okay. I can imagine. Alrighty. Yeah, my goal today is at least get a decent bit of progress towards the L9059. Maybe get the Aras as well. Or at least just get L9059 and then work towards Aras. It's just a bit awkward because you don't really have lineup potential of this. Because 9059 is just up tiering all the rest you have. But then if you up tier it with Aras is a bit... Actually, let me look at Aras. That camo. Oh, that's very nice. Those are the GA only camos. Are they for all the French coastals just Dazzle? That's a shame if that's the... Also, that is not the camo equipped. Because all of this is for some reason... upped. Oh, they do have Dazzle camo on all of them. Very nice. And equipped best flag, there we go. Okay, just whenever everybody readies up, we'll get going again. And off we go. Next game, I'm going to start taking VTB 13 along. Because then these two should be very close to being spaded. Yeah, I like the Japanese cameras as well. They do. I don't know if people have noticed this, but they are like slowly but surely sneaking in a fourth camo option for most ships. I think Japanese Blue Water got a new camo option. Of course, it's Golden Eagle only, but yeah, well. Wouldn't want to re-grind all my Japanese camos again for another camo option. Yep. I still much prefer the two free camos, actually. The green and the very colorful tricolor are my favorites still for Japan. African Gulf boats. I think I want to fight over A. But it's been a while since I played this map of boats that aren't quite as potent. Does the Japanese coastals also get a pink camo? Haven't actually noticed. Also, one thing I do like about these French coastals is that their interiors are fairly decently modeled. I think I can just look straight into the bridge from this angle. You can see a control panel in there. I did say French coastals, right? Yeah, their modeling is pretty neat. Okay, one of those things again. I mean, yeah. And probably a bit simpler. I will not get into Amagi just yet, because I'll go mad. Yeah, I've seen it as well. I've saw a Reddit post about it. Melt the Russian. Melt the 7-7s. Oh, that's unfortunate. There, good machine gun again. You do tend to lose your gun a lot in these French coastals, these 1.0s. But I think it's just because it has this big turret ring that gets knocked out quickly. Oh, you know what? I'll get into what's wrong with Amagi. I haven't actually read the article properly yet, but there is an article written in Chinese on everything wrong with Amagi. And it's a bit rough to read, even with the auto-translation. But basically, the turrets are wrong, the gun shields on the 120s are wrong, the conning tower is wrong, several decks on the pagoda mast are wrong, the funnels are wrong, and so forth and so forth. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with Amagi. I think its armor scheme is actually fine. I haven't actually taken a closer look at Amagi yet, in terms of armor. But cosmetically and appearance-wise, a lot is wrong with Amagi. That's a bit dangerous. I'm aiming behind because I believe he'll retreat. Yeah, but you do have to remember that ships like that are actually made by external, like third parties. But I have heard that apparently they were working off of like the first design documents of Amagi instead of the documents that were, or blueprints that were made up as he was being built. So to a certain extent, the Amagi we have in game is a pure paper ship instead of a, like, how do I say this? Prototype? Like, the Amagi we have in game is not the Amagi as she would have been finished, but literally just a blueprint. Which is very whack. At least that's from my understanding of it. I cannot read Japanese nor Chinese, so I'm going off of what I'm interpreting. Ah, got that. Didn't reload. Still, that was a bit of a decent run in the VTB-11. And I am going to spawn it back up. Actually, what way is that thing turning? I think it'll be going down here. So we already that. I think, if I remember it correctly, that the turrets on Amagi are from the refitted Nagators. The turrets it would never have had. Or I think something along those lines. The anti-air guns have gun shields which it wouldn't have at the time period. It has 2 funnels instead of the 1 merged funnel, which is in accordance to the first blueprints of Amagi instead of the later blueprints. Then... yeah, the conning tower has hilariously large windows. The bridge deck is too high up. One of the observation decks with the searchlights is flipped, for as far as I can tell. There's just a lot wrong with Amagi. One little collision. It is really strange. But the thing is, again, if it's a third party that did it and they didn't really look too closely or didn't really know what they were dealing with, it's mistakes that happen. I can understand it happening, but it does need to get fixed at some point. That's force reload. Yeah, exactly. But the funnel is probably one of the bigger... The funnel and the turrets are the biggest, like, visual problems, in my opinion. Because they're very visible from long range. Of course, all the other stuff is still kind of problematic as well. But, oh well. Nah. As much as I would enjoy a fully World War II fit Amagi, never existed. We've got a new camo unlocked. And whilst we're talking about Amagi, I actually want to look at it. Because there's something I want to note. Okay, that's VTB11 spaded, lovely. So I just need, I think, one more modification on VTB14. Yep. So let's uptier ourselves to 1.3. And take a quick look at Amagi. You know, among some of us, there's a bit of a joke, you could say. And that is you can see the quality of a Japanese ship model by looking at the chrysanthemum on the bow. If that is bad, it's a pretty good indicator of the rest of the ship quality. And seeing as that is just that. Like a good example is, I think, Aoba. Where is it? There it is. Has a really, really nice bow chrysanthemum. And it's a pretty good model. I think there were some mistakes with it early on, but it's really it's a good mark of like quality. So if that is all wonky, I think was it Hyuga that's a really, really low poly one. Yeah, look at Hyuga's. Of course, Hyuga has been fixed over time, but remember that upon release, her belt armor thicknesses, so this armor thickness gradient was reversed. Lots of funny stuff. But yeah. Back to France. And now I think we get a 20 mil in the rear. And let's, of course, expert our crew. I think, though, like all visual problems of Amagi aside, it's going to be a very fun ship once I get my hands on it. I've grown to really like the Mutsu, and getting basically a Mutsu with admittedly less armor but faster and 2 more guns. It's going to be very fun. It does indeed not go wrong. They don't? I need to check that out, but I think they should. I think I saw them fire TF. There we go. Everybody ready? Took us 1-3s. Perfect. And instant Q. On Fiji. We'll take VTB 13 out for a spin first, because VTB 14 is almost spared anyways. So let's see what we can do with 13, and I'll be going towards A. So the good thing about 13 is that it actually has decent firing angles towards the front. But it is a very fast boat, much like the other VTBs. I have heard that. I haven't noticed it myself per se yet. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, in real life, technically speaking, you don't even have tracers on battles on most shells. I mean, for autocannons you might, but not for blue water, like destroyers and stuff. You don't have tracers on their shells. At least to my knowledge. I did indeed forget to change the flag. It'll be done next battle.
No.
Alerte, collision.
Yeah. That is actually something I kind of find a little bit sad we don't have modeled in game. There's several ways that real-life navies actually manage to distinguish which shells are whose. And it's by paint. Like each ship would have a certain paint assigned to it. And the shell splashes would be colored in that paint. And I would really, really love if that got implemented in the game as well. So you just have multiple colored like shell splashes.
Victory is near. Enemy forces have captured a zone.
I think... I'm pretty sure both the Japanese and American navies did this. I'm not too sure about other navies.
Affirmative.
And I think with the introduction of like radar and more advanced radar control systems, fire control systems, this became a bit obsolete. So I'm not entirely sure like until what periods it was used. But I think even for Japanese guns, even their anti-air shells would have paint in them. But I'm not entirely sure on that anymore. But I think I read that somewhere. Yeah, it is just to know which shells are yours. So if you see a bunch of explosions, you know which ones to correct. Which is a neat little detail. Shoot the gun, shoot the gun, shoot the gun, shoot the big scary gun. And when you reload to 20, shoot the ship. And I think colored flak burst would be really nice. Capturing A behind me. But I am on course to B now, so let's get that first. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, in smoke, like gun smoke in general, should last a lot longer, especially for capital grade like guns, from what I know. I can imagine. I think details like that would be very nifty to model into the game. Although how exactly you would model it is a big mystery. What having a functional gun can do to a boat is 20 mil is so useful. Oh, hello. Having the 7.7s as backup isn't too bad.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
I think early in the war there was American dyes used, because I've heard during work I've actually been, or during off times, I've been listening to a podcast of the Pacific War, because why not? And there are reports of them using dyes in the early war, especially on their cruisers. I think there was one naval battle I do not remember the name of that I listened about. And it was about how there was some friendly fire incidents and they found, well, the dye on one of the American cruisers that was tied to another American cruiser. You could do that. You could link into acrobatic smoke, but then you have the problem that also I'm going to spawn the 14. Then you have the problem that multiple people can have the same color, kind of defeating the purpose. You know, it's been a very interesting, like, listening and getting to know more about the Pacific War. Because it's an area I'm kind of interested in, but I just never really hear a lot about, or read a lot about. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It would more be visual flair rather than actually useful. Also, I heavily underlet that already, didn't I? I didn't. I did. There goes my gun again. And that's a reload. Yeah. That is part of it being a game. I can indeed sink a full-on our boat with just 7/7s. I mean, in real life you probably could as well.
We no longer have the advantage.
They're not that arbitrarily. Don't like hearing the Stuka, but apparently the squad mate already shot it down. What is on this cap? That is on this cap. There's an AI. He still has both torpedoes on board, so don't have to be too worried about a torpedo attack. Please fill out the cap, thank you very much. I cannot pan this boat when it's angling. There we go. And I got void. The VB-13 has a mortar. I need to check it out. I didn't think this thing has a mortar. I think one of the other ones it does, but not this thing. I need to check which boat has a mortar again.
We no longer have the advantage. If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
Alerte, collision.
Picket being incredibly quick, because that's what always happens with low-tier coastals for some reason. But yeah, it's gonna be game.
Échec de la mission. Repliez-vous vers la base.
That's a camo unlocked for 14. And 14 spaded, because of course. 20 mil AP. And some API belts. Let's go faster, and let's get artillery. And I think we'll want to get primary armament as well to get a 20 turning a little bit faster. And there we go. But wasn't there one of these that has this 81mm mortar? I've forgotten which one it was though, but I think one of them had it. Oh, it's another new boat. Oh, yeah, and it's the British new boat, isn't it, with a mortar? Fremantle. Has that funny American mortar in the back again. Or the 50 cal on top of it. I mean, to be honest, yes. At the same time, I also block a lot of the loading screens because I don't really care. I think it's an option, and if you go to loading screen filter, I just have all of them that aren't naval related, basically. I just block out because, meh. And that reminds me, I do actually need to block out the new ones. Like, I do not care to see that one at all. I do like these older ones, because nostalgia, why not? I think... yeah, that can stay. This one is a new one as well, isn't it? You say that, Milk, but it is listed under its armament. And it does have ammo allocated to it. Yeah, that might have been it, fam. There are, hold on. Yeah, there is a mortar decoration, which I think I actually have, yeah. But I think there's multiple. This is definitely one of them. There are actually not multiple. And me being here reminds me that I need to equip the best flag. There we go. And everybody ready, so on we go to round 2 at 1.3. And I think I'll just be less ambitious than getting a 9059 and just be happy when I get these two. And then I'm going to work towards some of this maybe in a week or two. Sure thing. Probably getting a bit late for you, isn't it? Or that too. But thanks for joining me anyways, Deutschland. That reminds me, I'll have to get up early tomorrow if I still want to get a task done. Because of course, playing rank 1 and 2 is not getting any progress done towards this mark of distinction. Well, if worst comes to worst, I'll just take out the either the Atlanta, the Iron Army, or the Frank Knox, and just slap as much as I can. Yeah, I know. I have heard from people that the mortar and the 50 cal just fire at the same time. Meaning that you just cannot hit anything with the mortar. Or is it the 50 cal that just shoots up in the sky? I don't know. I'll test out the Fremantle at some other time. I know they can't aim independently, that's why it's really weird. Speaking of the Japanese coastals there, because you're working on them, I've there's some word about a Japanese naval event, possibly, with a flag and a decoration for Japanese ships, celebrating the new voice lines the Japanese ships got. Leonardo da Vinci. I wouldn't recommend buying premium battleships. I am somewhat of the opinion that the Italian, I think, is that the one with bored out guns, or is it still just 12-inch guns? I don't remember, but actually that battleship isn't particularly bad. You do get blown up a lot though. Like Leonardo da Vinci will get designated. At least last I encountered one. Does the Tech 3 one have the bored out guns? Or is it only on the later battleships that they get the bored out guns? Okay. Well, if you're looking to get into the Italian tree, I would recommend getting Pola over getting the yeah, so am I, if we ever get the late Nagato. But I would actually recommend getting Pola over getting the Da Vinci. Mainly because one, it's cheaper, and the Italian battleships. Unless you really want to get the Italian battleships, then just go for it. But yeah. In my opinion, it is better to get a premium destroyer or cruiser, since their SL modifier doesn't really change. Actually, you get maximum SL modifier from destroyers onwards for premiums. And they're also just much more friendly, especially for beginners to naval to get into. Like, if you had the choice, if you could gift a premium to somebody who wants to try out naval, do not give them a premium battleship. It is just not a good idea. If you're already experienced with naval, if you already know what battleships are like, do whatever you want. But if you're new to naval and you genuinely do not know what ships would be best to get, stick to the cruisers and rank 3 destroyers. Yeah, really. If a Frank Knox is a really good idea to get somebody into getting naval. Because that thing just prints silver lines and is a really good meta ship for the battle rating. I mean, seeing as you did most of Japan, you already know how suboptimal ships are like. Again, if you have experience with the battleships, get Da Vinci, sure. I like the guns on the Da Vinci. Just know that it is prone to exploding violently. I need to check if I actually have ships on my wish list. I don't think I do. I don't really use the wish list much. Mainly because I own actually a vast amount of the ships in game. And I don't really care much for premiums, other than for collection purposes. And the odd SL grinding. And just having a 20 mil really, really helps.
Bateau. Secteur ennemi coulé. Attirez. Ennemi touché. Mouvement. Nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. Ah, cible touchée par les objets.
And we can just... There we go.
Coulé. Oui. Cible identifiée. Bateau. Position 1-4-0. 500 mètres. Cible détruite. Ennemi touché. Ah. Alerte, collision. Bateau. À l'avant. 3000 mètres. Par au milieu du navire. Par au milieu du navire. Terminé. Par à bâbord. Par à bâbord. Terminé. Ah. Cible détruite.
It really is.
Mouvement. Nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. À tribord. Terminé.
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
Chasseur. À bâbord. 500 mètres.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Cible identifié. Chasseur. 1, 2, 0. 50 mètres. Bateau. À l'avant. 2000 mètres. Mouvement. Nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. Ah, attirez.
The Italian 5.7 lineup is really good. So if you're wanting to grind Italy, their 5.7 cruisers are really, really, really fun. Still on the scap that I'm not seeing. And that's still on the scap.
Bateau. 500 mètres. Ennemi détruit. Ah, ennemi touché. À l'avant. Terminé. Mouvement. Nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. Cible identifiée. Bateau.
Yeah, but still they're different. And also, comparing cruisers to the Japanese heavy cruisers are really good because they have a really good reload. But the Italian cruiser lineup at 5.7 is really nice. They're fast cruisers with decent, punchy guns. The reload rate is not as great as Japan, but they're good. They're a really, really nice lineup.
Par au milieu du navire. Par au milieu du navire. Terminé. Mouvement. Nous avons subi.
And newsflash, heavy cruisers and light cruisers tend to be incredibly similar to each other compared in between nations.
And victory will surely
You do not have a great variety in what a ship is capable of between nations. Of course, damage model and size and magazine vulnerability changes, but an 8-gun heavy cruiser is an 8-gun heavy cruiser no matter the nation.
C'est la victoire au QG.
You really wouldn't have, believe me. I played Furataka and all, but during the time, it was not fun. And believe you do not want to wish those bots to return. And Sky, I cannot because I do not have any physical dice. Yeah, still. I hate the botting pandemic that happened with a passion, and anybody who supports it with it. How close am I to the next boat? One more match. Yeah, but it is correct for a robot to not have float planes. As Japanese ships got up and up, well, got more and more anti-aircraft guns, they just removed the float planes to make space for more anti-aircraft guns. And I think Aoba is one of those ships. The same reason why Tone, a reconnaissance aircraft light cruiser, not light cruiser, just cruiser, is famous for having a lot of reconnaissance planes, doesn't have any in-game. It's in a refit where it's removed all of the float planes in order to have all the anti-air in the back. I didn't think the fuel is a problem, more the lack of pilots at that point, really. But oh well. What did I really know? I'll almost be sad to get rid of this VTB-13 after it's spaded. Because it's a really, really nice little boat. At 1.3. A very good boat. But yeah, if I can get these two boats tonight, I'll be very happy. And there we go, our next match. African Gulf again. We'll be going towards the A point as usual. Sea is a little bit too open. All the heavy boats tend to go to the sea point. If there are any heavy boats, of course.
Préparez le navire au combat. Paratribord. Paratribord, terminé.
I don't know, because there's not much point in... those two aren't strike capable. The Tone is just reconnaissance aircraft, so is Oyodo. So I don't see how, like, control over multiple aircraft at once is really useful for those ships. And I'm still of the opinion that the fact that they didn't introduce Ise as the battle carrier Ise is a huge missed opportunity for trying out carrier mechanics.
Bateau, à l'avant. 1000 mètres. Roll-bas de combat. Ennemi détecté.
We have most of the zones. We've captured most of the strategic zones. Attack the enemy.
Have 7-7 the Foul Demon. And hopefully some artillery strikes as well.
Moteur, à l'arrière. Ah! Cible touchée par les côtés. Bidon, tout. Bateau, Patribord. 3000 mètres.
Thank you very much.
En route du
Yep.
navire.
Little bonk.
Du navire, terminé. 6 identifiés.
Scary boat. Did you know what to do to scary boats? You charge them. I'm going to get sunk. And there we go. But maybe the squad mate is laying an ambush. Maybe torpedo him? Nope, he's being assaulted by a PT-6. Unfortunate.
Tout le monde, abandonnez
I kind of hope they add the other 2 Congos just to complete the collection. It'd also be incredibly funny if Japan just gets all their World War II capital ships. Because we're the only actual capital ships we're still missing for Japan that served during World War II are 2 Congos, Nagato, and the 2 Yamatos. Other than that, we have all of the Japanese World War II capital ships.
En arrière, tout. Cible touchée par les obus. Bateau. En pas de combat. Ennemi détecté.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Ennemi touché. Moteur à l'arrêt.
Come on. I'm getting stupid. I don't want to get stupid. Ah, jeez, I got stupid.
Abandonnez le navire.
Well. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. They can add the other 2 Congos in different fits and make it make sense. And Nagato still needs to be in a late war fit as well. And then there's 2 different fits of Yamato as well, so we could have every single World War II capital ship for Japan. But personally, I'd actually rather see a lot more cruisers get added, especially for Japan as well. There's like at least 4 cruisers I'd like to see for Japan. I'm tempted to swoop down and try and strafe some boats. So 4 cruisers I'd really like to see are the Maya, so the Atago with a turret removed for more anti-air. Or not the Takao class, Atago, same thing. Then the Kuma class converted to torpedo cruisers, which Kitakami is the most famous one. Then... oh, what am I thinking of? Hold on, I'm a bit distracted. A valuable kill. Then there's the Oyodo, which we brought up earlier, which is a really... I think there were 2, but I think it might have just been 1 as well. Which is a really unique ship where they use some of the leftover turrets from the Mogami, the triple 155s. Just put 2 of those on the front of a cruiser, and then the rear is just all flag facilities and communication facilities. I think it was supposed to be like a leader for submarine groups or destroyer groups. Really interesting cruiser. And the 4th, not really a cruiser, more seaplane tender, would be the Nishin, which I think has 3 of Yubari's turrets all in the front as well. And then facilities for seaplane tending. The thing is, Oyodo is not exactly a sub-tender. It is more a command ship for a submarine group. Which might sound the same, but it isn't. Also, what is going on here? An escort mission? Yeah, exactly. It was the the leader of a flotilla, or a fleet. And the P-26 just slammed into the ocean, okay.
Most of the zones are under control.
Now, was it? I thought there were 2 in the class of Yoda, but I was mistaken. Well, technically there are 2, but one was never finished. This is a very risky approach because there's just a mountain behind this LS3. Yeah, Oyodo did get the 100 mils, which is also another reason why I want to see it. Because it'll be one of the very few ships with AI-controlled 100 mils. If not the only Japanese ship with that kind of anti-aircraft gun under AI control. Which might make it for might make for a really, really good long-range anti-aircraft ship. There are not many Japanese ships, I think, that even had 100 mil planned for the secondaries. I think Ibuki might be one. Yeah, I think the Ibukis are basically just Mogamis with 100mm secondary guns. I think Shinano, if she were to be completed as a battleship, as a Yamato class, would also have had 100mm guns for the secondaries, but yeah. It's basically just those 3 and that's it. If not mistaken. I'm not actually too familiar with Ibuki, but for as far as I know it's just a Mogami, an 8-inch gun Mogami, but with 100mm secondaries. Yep. VTB 19 unlocked, and we'll crew it in the Gladiator slot. Yes, Ibuki got laid down and was converted into an aircraft carrier. I'm not sure, was she renamed when she was an aircraft carrier? I'm not sure, but I think she was. I'm not even sure she was completed either. But I know that the Ibuki hull got converted into an aircraft carrier. And there we go. Another boat acquired. On to the next one. Yep. Mistook that red dot for a green one. But she was completed as a carrier, right? I never remember that correctly for Ibuki. So what are these torpedoes like? Are they the good ones? They are the good ones. Perfect. 21 in the front, 2 13s on top. Should be a decent little boat. You know, as much as it might make some people cringe, I would really like to see carriers and submarines in the game at some point. Especially because I do have some people that are a bit more knowledgeable how to read data mines and stuff like that. And every single update, more and more code gets revealed that has to do with submarines and carriers. And it's just, just please, give them. Especially submarines. There's a lot of, more and more code keeps getting dug up about submarines. I think the most recent one I saw is that they get a separate spawn, or a separate spawn like, how do I say this? They get their own spawn category. And I think it kind of implies that they get their own separate spawn point, submarines. But I'm not entirely sure. I might be misremembering. Fiji again. And I will go to the... You know what? I think I'll actually go to the sea point. Rough sea conditions, oh boy. This boat is a bit slower than the others, isn't it? Quite. Yep, I do indeed keep forgetting to change the flag. At least I've been pretty on the ball of changing my ammo types this time around. It's usually something I forget whenever I get new ships. And unlock new belts. Ooh, an almost full match. Against two enemy 3-mans. The 20s. For the Type 5, you want to use the 20s, and maybe take some pot shots with the 75 at longer range. But you definitely want to manually control the 20s. Especially at closer ranges. I'm not sure if you can actually... Can't you control both at the same time with the... if you select this here. Can you control both at the same time? Because I'm able to control both of my weapons on this boat with that option. Seeing as C seems to be pretty well taken care of, let's swing over to B.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Ennemi détecté. Alerte, collision.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Identifié. Bateau. Position.
I love rough sea conditions. Truly amazing for coastal gameplay. There's this plane up. It is slightly scary. Luckily it is just a BB-1, so it's not that scary.
Another zone captured, we have the advantage.
There's an enemy Type 5 around. But I'll do my best to just ignore it and go towards the A point. Ouch, 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 what are you? Oh, you're the new Italian thing. It's a real menace. So this is a new Italian boat that has a single 40mm pom-pom on the front of it, and it's a real menace.
Attack the A point.
Oh no, I'm reloading. And he repairs quicker than I reload. So do I, luckily. Taken out by the 3-pounder on a fair mile. But you know, that Italian boat is a real menace. And I've been recommended by a friend of mine to get it quickly as well. Well, at extremely close range like that, the pom-pom is really good. The pom-pom is basically a rapid-fire 40mm, but with a much lower muzzle velocity. So its performance at long range is a bit worse compared to the Bofors, but it has an increased rate of fire. So its damage output is a bit better. Is that the Italian again? It is. No, it isn't. It's the ML 1383. Okay. It's actually kind of out of range as well. Let's force a reload.
Take him down.
Get ourselves on the A point. Where is the F1? There it is. I recognize that name. I don't remember from where. Nasty is trying to do nasty things. They're not doing too well. Oh, Jesus. Just suddenly hearing aircraft engines is a bit scary. Oop. Nasty did not survive. Might have been partially my fault. Might not have been. I think there's a fair amount trying to get along this side. Also aircraft. Actually, I should be doing this, shouldn't I?
Error. 250. 1,000 meters.
If it's anti-air missiles, I genuinely do not care. They can add as many anti-aircraft missiles as they want, even if they have some limited surface-to-air surface-to-surface capabilities. It's when you start getting into like purpose-built anti-ship missiles that I have a bit of an issue. Especially if they're self-guided anti-ship missiles. I'm not a big fan of weapon systems that basically just get to the target on their own. Especially when you don't have any counters to it. I mean, you say that, but it is really funny. Because you don't have to do any effort for shooting down the planes either, you just lock onto them and it automatically tracks them. And there's capturing A behind us. And you waited for us, but you couldn't deal with the firepower. Hello there, Delta. Yeah, but to be perfectly honest with you, podcast, if they want to try going at a, you know, several thousand-ton ship, good luck. Like, even if it doesn't have a missile, a lot of the anti-aircraft guns will defend ships just fine. And there are still some aircraft that you can use to defeat anti-air screens like that, even the missiles. It's just... the main thing that shoots down a lot of planes with missiles is the fact that the planes just don't see it coming. The amount of times where I've shot down... I've had this happen, right, where in a match I've sunk somebody with Sata's missile, only for them to then spawn in a plane and fly in a straight line. Like, how can you be sunk by a missile, then not for a second consider that that missile might have anti-air capabilities? Or heck, just, you know that it has anti-air capabilities. This is like in a 5-7 match as well. I was in a full up tier with Sata. But yeah, being the first one to die to a Sata is never really fun. But as soon as you know that there is a missile ship out there, you should be just careful. And yeah, it isn't a radar missile. Technically speaking, none of the in-game anti-air missiles on ships need a radar lock to function. Not even Bravi's missile. If anything, it's actually better not to use a radar lock on Bravi's missile, with how finicky that radar system is. Go, really? I only just left the capture point. Oh well. Recaps, because why not? But yeah, I have little compassion with the gripes of CAS players. Despite me enjoying it in the old torpedo bombing every now and then. And let's get APT, let's get some form of stabilization on the main guns, and then artillery. And as soon as we're ready, we'll go again. But yeah, I think for today I'll just try and get the Vosper, and we'll see what my mood will be after that. Or rather, how awake I'm still at after that. And then we'll get the other two at another date. Yeah, certainly. But again, the early stuff is really cheap, so you fly through it, despite their guns being quite bad on the 1.0s. But then you get to 1.3 and just fly through stuff with a 20mm. I really like the 13. The VTB 13 is a really, really funny boat, or fun boat. And these two should be just fine, but they step up in price quite a bit. So it takes a bit more time. And then, of course, you get another price jump with these boats. But I think they're well worth it. Also, did I forget to change the flag again? I did. So let's do that first. Very nice. But yeah, seeing as you just joined Delta, my plan is to just research the French... Actually, for anybody in this chat currently, my plan is to just research and grind the French coastal tree on live stream. To basically have a bit of a video archive of what it's like to grind through a coastal tech tree. Well, this one is kind of small, so it is a bit of a bad example. But it is an example nonetheless. And I'm not that passionate about the French coastals that I would really feel the need to grind them off stream. I've got plenty of other ships I still need to get off stream. Yeah, I know. I know that the French and the Japanese 13.2s are the same gun. But I think the Japanese got it from the French, didn't they? The 13.2mm guns. I mean, isn't the 25 also derived from a French gun? The Japanese, like, infamous 25mm anti-aircraft gun. Yeah, I need to look a bit more into the Japanese submarines, because their classes are a bit obscure. At least to me they are. But go ahead. Mm-hmm. And on to the next battle we go. Coral Islands with battle game mode. Also not a game mode you see too often. It's only reserved to lower BR coastals. And you'll probably be able to see why in just a moment. Well, during this battle. And I forgot to change belts. Let's do that first. And I also forgot the expert to crew on this boat. Not too familiar with the Nautilus class. But yeah, the I-400 and the Turku I am familiar with. I don't think not in the 30s, probably. I don't know, also has a 6-inch deck gun. That would be funny. Yeah. I mean, didn't quite a few Japanese submarines have the 140 as a deck gun as well? Because I think that would be a pretty fun submarine to use a deck gun on. Is it? I think Douglas is still not a good grinder. It is not a good way to get a cell, it's not a good way to research the American coastal tree. But with it getting 4 missiles instead of 2, it is more worthwhile. So if you're looking for a funny boat to pick up for the Americans, consider the Douglas. But it is not a good ship to grind with. It is just painful. It's a 4.0 with a mediocre gun, and the missiles are not easy enough to use against surface targets. Somebody who played the submarine event back in November, because you could only get the decal from the submarine event. Shooting high, and I know it. That's an arty strike. That's a torpedo heading my way, most certainly. Or not. Yeah, the submarine event was great. Genuinely awesome. And I still have my personal hopes that we'll see submarines by the end of the year. Although, it's almost there. We're almost at the end of the year. Just 2 more updates to go. Yeah, hopefully they do. Like, it was a really, really fun event. It was genuinely an event where it was fun to play both sides, and where both sides had an equal chance at winning. Which is a rare case for War Thunder events in my experience. Let's motor on over to Bravo. Because this is one of the few modes where if both teams have a cap, it bleeds for both teams. So we need to get decapture Bravo at some point. Okay, I managed to torpedo detonate that AI, I think. And these are decapturing Bravo, perfect. I did look onto a nasty there for a quick second. I don't know where it is. Another Hagel.
Air 190, 200 meters.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Ouch. And it's on to C. When I capture C, it's game over. which might actually be ending this match a bit too quickly in my opinion, but oh well. And I decaptured A, so I can no longer continue this gap.
We're ahead of the enemy.
Coulon, nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. Ouais, j'ai été touché par les obus. Feu détecté sur le navire ennemi. Ennemi détruit, bien fait. À bord, tous. À bord, tous, terminé. Ennemi touché.
There's actually a player in the other three. They're capturing A and B. This is not great. Not great at all.
Cible touché par les obus. Identifié. Bateau. 1, 4, 0. Livré. Coulon, nous avons subi les dégâts critiques. Assuré. Ennemi détruit.
Having a few speed upgrades would be quite nice at this point.
Alerte collision.
And that's me gonna be sunk, I think. Yep. But I did do a lot of damage to that Mars 555. And I'll reinforce the B side and take a backup.
Tout le monde, abandonnez le navire. Abandonnez le navire. Phare à tribord. Vaisseau ennemi brûlé, bravo.
There we go. A few scratches, and that was enough to sink, or well, finish off the Vosper.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
Say what again? The Mars 555?
1,500 meters.
I think this will be the last match for tonight anyways. I'm getting a little bit tired. And I don't think I did, no. Yeah, well. I didn't ask you a question. It's fine. Please fly straight at me. It's much easier to shoot at targets when they fly straight at me.
Alerte collision.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
And in the meantime, also distracted by aircraft, somebody captured B.
Ennemi touché. Cible en feu. Ennemi touché. Cible touché par les obus.
Should end in a victory at least as much. Would be really nice. And I'm speaking too soon because we're capturing A. But we should be able to decapture B. And they're running out of players. Oh, there is the target. Couldn't quite catch him.
Just keep it up and victory will be ours. Enemy forces have captured a zone. Allied forces have captured a zone.
And that's decent damage done to the G5. Not quite enough to sink it. Where's the plane? It's just a gladiator, so no real threat. But let's make sure it's dead.
Ciblés viennent détruits. Tous des dégâts à vous tous.
That's a Japanese Type 4. Can't quite see where I have to shoot him. I think this will be game anyways. There we go. A very good match. End tonight's stream on, I think. And there we go. Goal achieved. Prosper unlocked. Let's get some modifications done. And I think this boat's spaded as well. There we go. So, Vosper unlocked. Select an order crew. We'll drag you... Actually, we can't drag you now. Into the VTB slot. And now I have 2 more boats to unlock, but I'll do that another time. And yeah, so in roughly... How long have I been live now? Almost 3 hours. 2 hours and 45 minutes. I've gotten over half of the French coastal tree. But it'll take me significantly longer to get the other half. And that I'm pretty sure of. This is spaded, so I don't really need to expert the crew anymore. This, however, I will expert the crew on. And why not do it on this one either, anyways? Oop. But yeah, that'll be it. Next week will probably just be other new ships. And whatever else might be coming our way. But yeah. This is the... earlier BRs or the earlier ranks of French coastal. You have seen how they play, and I think I'll just see you around the next time. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again.